Hey folks, Ace TCG here, and this is a different one if you are a subscriber and you've been used to me making Digimon TCG content. So I've recently moved away from Digimon. No major issues with it. I've just, stopped playing it kind of, and I've fell back in love with Vanguard. So I used to make Vanguard videos like back in the day, so that's kind of what this is. I am in my new room, my new setup, so like lighting, as you can see by my shadows and everything, I'm just kind of get used to. But yeah, this is pretty much where I'm thinking of taking the channel right now. Vanguard used to be what I play the majority of, and it's what I'm really enjoying right now. So yeah, let's get into it. So this is a premium Cardfight Vanguard deck profile for Thavas. I have the new Nightmare Doll from BT6 playmat, the Blazing Dragon Reborn. It's really nice. Little Nightmare Doll, Direful Doll Amandine. I have no idea. I'm still catching up on what a lot of the cards are. But if you're ready to play Vanguard and you're here just to see the Thavas deck profile, you're not going to be wanting to sit around and wait for me to get into it. So let's just crack on straight away. To start off, as a starter, we're just running the Kelpie Rider Mitros, whatever you prefer. Yeah, it's really good. So when run upon, draw a card. Then if your opponent's grade 1 or greater, put a quick shield ticket to your hand, which is this little token, if you haven't already seen it. Also, if you hear any like major background noise, it is November the 5th in the UK, so that's bonfire night. So you might hear a lot of bonfires. I'm not being shot at, I promise. For grade 0s, we are running the one-off over trigger. This is the Stoichia over trigger. It's absolutely bonkers. Has the additional effect when it's checked by drive check of draw a card, choose one of your units and it gets a crit. All your front row gains 10k, and if your damage out has the same number or less, more as your opponent, choose a card from your damage and heal it. It's absolutely crazy. So like if you drive check this, you draw one from the fact that it's an over trigger ability as well, and then you add the additional effect to draw a card, which you've got a draw trigger effect. Choose one of your units, get a crit trigger effect. All your front row gains a 10k, that's a front effect, and then the heal as well. So it's literally every trigger in one, but you end up drawing two as well because of this as well. So it's just absolutely bonkers. Some people in a lot of decks are running the Cry Elemental one that gives 2 of your units plus 100 million. That is still very good. However, if you have the option to run the Stoichia one, 9 times out of 10 you're going to choose it because it's just so smooth. Next, we've got Emerald Shield Pascal. So this is a weird one for me because usually when I was playing Premium, it would definitely just be like a 4-off of the PG draws, but you running the new promo order card that's a Sentinel as well. So we're going to have the room to run the 3 of these as well. Still running with the 3. They're still really smooth, still very, very good value. And it is a combo deck at the end of the day, so you do want to be using at least some draws in the main deck. Along with the Overtrigger, again, it just kind of feels like you're still running those 4 when it does come up. And it means that you have more room to run these beautiful, beautiful crits. Speaking of crits, we've got Bumper Shooter. We're running Bumper Shooter at a 4 of. It allows you to stride, so it has the effect of hand. While paying the cost of stride, this card can be discarded as a grade of 3. It's a crit, has the 15k, and because it's from well, you know what I'm talking about. It's a 10k instead of a 5k. It's not an old trigger, which is really nice. And then we're running 4 more crits here in the form of Direct Strike Bravo Shooter. I hardly find myself using this, but it's nice just to have the option to. It can fill soul when you need to, so its effect is GB1. Remember that. When your Vanguard attacks, put this unit to your soul, draw a card, and one of your Vanguards gain 10k. The 10k has come up in the past for me because my opponents are so usually like busy worrying about my rear guard, so they just completely forgot that I have to guard my Vanguard. So it does come up, and it can be a target to rest with some of the other abilities that I'm going to go over. So it can come up, but it's really just important because of that crit. And then, like a dummy, I've put the rest of the triggers at the back, and you'll see why. It's because of the grade 3 heals here. These are absolutely fantastic to be running in Premium. If you're looking at running a premium deck and you haven't had a lot of experience with it, definitely take a look at these. They are the like super like helpful do the shenanigans but early game thing. So its effect is when this unit is put on G from your hand, if you did not ride a grade 3 or greater this fight, perform one of the following. So that line there is actually really important in the Thavas deck because that means that if you do go for the ride down play, what you can do in Thavas, you actually cannot use this card's ability. when I first got back into Premium, I was looking at it, I was like, hell yeah, I can write down, use this, and it definitely got me caught out. So keep that in mind. Its effect is choose one of your Vanguards and it can gain 10k for the turn, so that can really shut down rush rush decks. Or its bottom other effect is choose one of your opponent's units to get -2 crit until the end of the battle, which is also really useful. I've used this a lot against Alex using D-Police, and it can really just like save your bacon. Now, the other additional effect that they've just added on, which makes it even nicer, is also when this unit's placed on rear from hand, if your damage zone has no cards, put the top card of your deck into your damage zone. So this is good if your opponent's deciding to just completely stall your damage. I found myself using the grade 3 heal to use that in like No Life King when my opponent's keeping me to 0. It just means that you can really like push through and still be able to actually play the game. That can really come up if you're playing against a deck that's like just can put you from 0 to 6 like that, or just like really like wind down your value. You're getting no value and then just turbo you out. The last grade 0 that we're running is the Officer Cadet Andre. Now this card is actually a pain in the butt to get your hands on. It's from GTD04, which is the original Thavas trial deck that came out like 2017, 2018 maybe. But yeah, it's a fantastic card in this deck. It has Forerunner. We're not running it as our main starter because the value that you get from the Mitros is just fantastic. It has an act ability of GB1, remember that again, counterblast 1, put this unit to your soul and choose one of your rear guards. Until the end of the turn, it gets the ability of auto, rear guard once per turn. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked a Vanguard, stand this unit, and this unit gains 2k until the end of turn. So in this deck you can get rear guards that are like super chunky or have the ability to stand themselves already. Throwing this on something that's doing that is just super, like, it's an immense amount of pressure that adds to it, and it can just turn your already like wide board into a really like big stack. And the issue that Aquaforce has kind of always had is that we've always had the ability to attack multiple times, but we've never had like big power, and when we do have big power it can't stand. With the effect of Andre, it kind of balances that out a little bit, and it's nice. Some decks I've seen online are running 2 of this. The more I tested it, I just found it a bit clunky. I like the 1, and we have ways to be able to get this back and use this effect recurringly. It's super good. Looking at grade 1s, we have 4 Kelpie Rider Nikki. So yeah, 4 of definitely. I think it's the only grade 1 that I'm currently running out for in this list. I know you can see the Narissa over there and you might be thinking, why no 4 Narissa? But we'll get there. Nikki is really nice, and it's one of the ways that we were actually able to use the grade 3 Thavas' effect at like kind of like regularly. It can really help you get there. If you don't run into your grade 2, that's going to allow your Pursuit Assault, that's going to allow you to just rest 2 straight off the bat, and then the Thavas to rest another one. Getting a Nikki and then getting something else as well can really come up clutch. It also has a really nice value mechanic in the Auto V. When placed, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to one who surpasses the Storm Thavas, or Kelpie Rider Dennis, which we are running both of in this list, from among them, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. It really just helps you secure that grade 3, and because we aren't running that many grade 3s, getting the value from this can come up critically. I used this for the premium events at Leeds that just happened recently, and I just never saw this, and so never saw Thavas, and it really hurt not seeing that. But that active bottom effect is rest this unit, put a normal unit from your drop zone on the bottom of your deck and soul charge 1. This can come up if your opponent has stuck on grade 2 and you've rode down. You don't have any grade 4s left on deck that you need for Thavas, so you can choose one of those grade 4s, put it to the bottom, and it means that you can still use the Thavas ability to just be able to go into anything that you need to go into. It's beautiful. Next, speaking of beautiful, and that I mean card effects, I promise, we have Battle Siren Narissa here. So it has the auto ability of rear guard. When rested by another card's ability, you can Soul Blast 1, stand this unit, and this unit gains 10k. This can be super early pressure as well if you get that Pursuit Assault on your Vanguard. It also has the auto rear guard ability of, at the end of your turn, if you have 4 or more rest rear guards, put this into your soul and draw a card. Now, make sure you're reading up on the conditions of this as well. It's easy to forget and use the likes of a Coral Assault ability first, and then accidentally make sure that you can't use this effect. Make sure you're putting this one in first. It's really strong. The only issue with this, and the reason I'm not running it at 4, is 1, it can hit, like, the soul can actually get a little bit like low in this list, but also we needed to make room for the rest of the cards that we're running. This list actually gets like super tight with like the mindset that I've come up with building it, and the way that it's just been built in general. And this is kind of a reason why. Now we have, for me, an absolute MVP in the deck, Earth Elemental Rollock. So this card is just fantastic. It's one of the only reasons I'm able to survive against like the D-Police matchup, anything that has really strong big punch energy early. This is just super fantastic. So it's got a 10k shield, which is actually, I know you might be like, why is he highlighting that? But I have played against a lot of people who are like, oh, it has 10k anyway. Yeah, it does, but you would expect a 5, but it's a 10, which actually comes up late game because it's useless late game. But it has the auto G, which is, again, a card that in your deck that specifically has a G effect is just weird and not the norm. But it has, when placed on Guardian Circle, if you have one Vanguard, that's important to, that's them trying to work around Legion. And if you are grade 2 or less, one of your units cannot be hit until the end of the battle. So what you can do is you can ride down in Thavas, still be grade 2, and then you just have a 1 card PG in your hand for this, which is nice to be able to like balance out when your opponent goes into grade 3 after that. And it's an easy way to just like completely shut them down with 1 card. It's really, really good. You could run this at 2 and run the additional Narissa, but I like the consistency of finding this. The only main downside that I have with this card is when you get it early, it's like you're only riding your 7k. That can be like super annoying, especially when you're using other cards to like reoccur things. But overall, the defense that it allows you to have is just, yeah, it's 10 out of 10. Next, we're running 2 order cards here in the form of Spiritual Body Condensation. So this card has the effect of play this with Soul Blast 1. You can choose a card with grade equal to or less than your Vanguard from your drop, call it to rearguard, and it gains 5k until the end of turn. So this card is really good because you can literally just grab anything you want. If your opponent swung into one of your rearguards and killed it, retired it, whatever, you can just get it back. If you want to be grabbing that Andre that we talked about earlier, you can use this effect, put it to soul, use this effect, soul blast it out, and then play it again, meaning that you're going to get those reoccurring effects going off. It's super spicy, and I definitely like the 2 off of it. I wouldn't run any more, just because it can be bricky again if you're drawing into pieces that you don't want at the wrong time. But yeah, it's super clean, super nice. And the last of our order cards is the new PG order card, Elementia Sanctitude. Yep. Smashed it. So it has the Sentinel ability, so you can only have up to 4 cards with Sentinel in your deck, as I'm assuming you know, and you only run 1 of this card in a deck. It has the order ability of, if your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, this ability can be played without paying its cost, which is mwah, chef's kiss. And the effect of play this card with discard a card from your hand. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or less, choose one of your units and it cannot be hit until the end of the battle. Remove this card. So yeah, super duper clean. Just really comes up. The important thing to know about this card is that you place it into the order zone. You don't actually place it into your guard circle, and that's important when you're playing against anything that has guard restrict. Steam Maidens currently running around rampant with that slot machine, making you have to guard. This is still a 1 card guard when you use this against those. D-Police, they can't get rid of this. So it's super good. And then the main reason that I was like, yes, I definitely need this is Narukami as well. Armor Break Dragon says you lose, lol, if you play the game when you're an XL deck. But this says, please stop trying to hit me with 6 crits, which is, yeah, it's really nice. Moving on to grade 2s. The best reprint that Aquaforce have ever had, Pursuit Assault. So if you don't know, Pursuit Assault originally was a promo card, and it was like 25 bucks each, and there was no chance that like I feel really bad for anyone who did go out of their way to buy those, because this reprint is just fantastic. So its effect is continuous. Remember that, continuous. This unit gains 5k for each of your additional rearguards. So most of the time this is sitting on your rearguard for at least a 14k, and that come up quite a lot and does come up quite often, that your opponent will swing it up for like 10, and they're like, oh, I'll just swing then, and I'm like, it's 14, buddy. And I'm obviously fine in those situations for them to switch it, but it keeps this guy safe, which is really nice. He has the act ability of Vanguard or Rearguard once per turn. You can Soul Blast 1 and rest 2 of your rearguards and draw a card. Now, he can choose himself to rest as well out of those targets. That's important to keep in mind if you don't have a lot of resources. But he's optimal for the deck. He helps you get pieces early. He can help you when you're in the bit of the, like, a stinker. If your opponent's, like, smacked you super hard early, he can help you get a lot of resources on your first stride. Next up is a card that you'll have seen a lot of if you played Aquaforce over the past few years, Coral Assault. I'm running 3 Coral on this list because I wanted to make room for other grade 2s. Coral's just really good value again, like the Narissa. He has the continuous effect of during the battle it attacked, if 4 or more of your other rearguards are, other units, that's important because your Vanguard counts as 1, this unit gains 15k. So it's just a 24k beater on its ones, which is just, mwah, chef's kiss. Love that. And then at the end of your turn, if the total number of attacks this turn is 4 or more, put this unit to your soul and draw a card. So this is what I was talking about when I went over the Narissa. So because Narissa has the requirement that you need to have 4 or more rested rearguards, you want to do the Narissa into soul and draw first, because the Coral Assault's effect will already be triggered as long as you've already hit those 4 rearguard attacks or just 4 attacks during that turn. But yeah, 3 Coral Assault, I wouldn't run it any less. The 4, I don't feel like I miss it, so the 3 is perfectly fine. And then we have a little blast from the past. Now, it definitely was a blast from the past for me when I was like looking at card lists, looking at deck logs, and being like, people are running Tidal Assault. And I tested it for myself, and I was like, that's why people are running Tidal Assault at 1. I'm going to run that at 2 because it's beautiful. So this is old Tidal Assault, OG Tidal Assault from back in the day. It's probably older than me. It has auto rearguard. I'm sorry for any people who are like pretty old saw that and are like, oh gosh, that's cringe. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked a Vanguard. If you have an Aqua Force Vanguard, stand this unit, and this unit gains minus 5k until the end of turn. This ability cannot be used for the rest of that turn. So it's really good to just stick on an additional, like on one of your Excel markers. It kind of dupes out that minus 5k. But also, you have some strides that are just going to be able to give 1 rearguard or 2 rearguards, like super chunky power. You stick it onto the Tidal Assault, and then your Tidal Assault swinging twice for like decent numbers, which is just nice. It's a free restand, means we don't have to worry about resources, and it really can come up. A few things about this: it's a mandatory effect, so if you do attack a Vanguard and you do meet the requirements, you have to stand, so you're going to lose that 5k, so make sure you're keeping that in mind. Attack a rearguard first if you need to with this. I've done that a lot. Attack a rearguard, restand it using effect, and then swing at Vanguard twice. Getting 3 attacks from 1 card is really nice value. But also, something that a lot of people might actually miss here, we are running Stoicheia cards in this list, and it does say if you have an Aqua Force Vanguard. Stoicheia isn't an Aqua Force, I think. I don't know. Check the ruling for me, I guess. But I think that might mean that you can't use this if you have a Stoicheia Vanguard. So, yeah, that just came up. Don't take my word as gospel, that could be wrong. But here are the Stoicheia cards that I was just talking about. We have Spurring Maiden Elania, whichever you prefer. This is a really nice value card to just get a piece back from your drop again. So when this unit's placed on rear from hand, remember that. Counterblast 1, Subblast 1, choose a grade 2 or less card from your drop, call it to rearguard, and it gains 5k. So a lot of the times with the Elania, I'm going to be calling like a Tidal Assault, I'm going to be calling a Pursuit Assault, anything that's just going to need you to have additional value, or one thing that you can call with the Elania is All Reliable. Wherever it's gone, it's in here somewhere. There he is. It's Officer Cadet Andre. So this is your other way of being able to get the Andre back, and that's why you feel more secure running the one-off Andre than running the 2. But yeah, Tidal Assault is really nice to just call back with the Elania. Just get you those extra pieces, and getting a Pursuit Assault just feels like an absolute cheat. Next up for our like final grade 2 Stoicheia card is Sylvan Horned Beast Leuka, whatever you want to pronounce it. So I actually saw this list on one of the Vanguard top decks from Twitter. So to the Aquaforce guy who plays Aquaforce like just prominently and posts all of the time, thank you. I definitely stole this idea from you, and it is fantastic. So it has the ability of act rearguard, retire this unit, choose one of your rearguards, and it gets 10k until the end of turn. So you can rest this with the likes of the Pursuit Assault, anything you need, and then you can just stick its effect on top of a Tidal Assault or a card that you're going to be calling with Andre. And it just gets 10k, and it just feels free and a little bit cheeky, because you're just like, oh, okay, here's extra pressure. And immediately just makes the title a bit more of a beat stick and get over like those numbers that you don't want to have to deal with. The last of our one-off grade 2s is the Kelpie Rider Dennis. So I really wanted to find reasons to be able to skew this in, specifically because of Nikki. Nikki grabbing you an additional target is just so free. It's like such great value and can really make or break certain matchups. With Thavas, I found that most of the time, if I go first and I don't brick, I'm gonna win. I feel like that. I feel like it's so much pressure that most decks can't deal with that amount of pressure straight off the bat. So yeah, but going second, you can really struggle against a lot of what the current meta is. But being able to get a +1 from the Nikki is really, really useful. Plus, Kelpie Rider Dennis is just another target to help you get that Thavas ability going off. It has the Act Vanguard or Rearguard ability of Rest another Rearguard. Look at the top card of your deck and call it to Rearguard. That's mandatory. This ability may only be used by a card with the same card name once per turn. That's to make sure that you don't just spam multiple abilities down and then just fill your board for a laugh. But it's important to keep in mind that if you try and use this and then kill it, and then resurrect it using Alania or using the Spiritual Body Condensation, you can't activate this card's effect again. So just keep that in mind. I know it's a lot of like niche little like situational things that might stop it, but yeah, I like the one-off Dennis. But if you prefer something else, if you want to run a second Alania, if you want to run another Narissa, another Coral Assault, you definitely can switch it out for that. That's just preference. Next up, we have the main guy himself. That we have one who surpasses the storm, Thavas. This card is nuts. It's bonkers. It's been pretty good in Premium for a while. It's still pretty good or reliable for Aquaforce right now. So it's going to act Vanguard Rearguard once per turn ability of rest a Rearguard, choose one of your opponent's Rearguards and retire it, which is just nice. It's really, really good. It's nice that this is a Vanguard or a Rearguard ability as well. Most people will be like, okay, I'm going to stick my crazy grade 1 that I've completely forgot the name of that goes in the back row that says if you attack with Rearguard you lose the game, lol. It's coming. No, it's gone. But you know what I'm saying. Against Narukami, and if they're playing the Eradicator the starter, Thavas can just get rid of that straight away. That feels good. And then the auto Vanguard ability underneath is basically what you'd be doing if you were just playing V Premium or if you're going first. Auto Vanguard, at the beginning of your battle phase, if 3 or more of your Rearguards are rest, discard a card from your hand, search your deck for up to 1 grade 4 card and write it as stand, shuffle your deck and that unit gains 10k in the drive. Until the end of the turn, at the end of the turn, retire that unit and write a grade 3 card from your soul. A few things to keep in mind there. You have to go into battle phase to be able to activate this card's effect. So that means you can't be switching things around. Make sure before you go into your battle phase, you've got everything where you want it to be. Because if you go into the likes of Lambros, you're going to want to make sure you've got your column strong. But if you go into the other grade 4 that we're running, you're going to want to make sure you've got a room to call things out. So it says at the bottom, write a grade 3 card from your soul. What you usually tend to do is both of our grade 4s have the ability to get rid of the grade 3 that's in your soul by either playing it out or soul blasting it. And that means that you no longer have a grade 3 in soul. You may think, oh, so I lose. No, the rules specifically state that if you don't have a target for a grade 3 in soul, you can just choose a card in your soul and write it. So you choose a grade 2 that's in your soul, being careful not to soul blast it out from any of your other abilities, and you write it, and that is your way to write down and stop your opponent from striding, which is just, yes, pièce de résistance, perfect. We are running a 5th grade 3 in this list. A lot of lists are running the other one that says like on place, Cannibalist 1 on Vanguard, give your opponent's Vanguard minus 5k. That's really good. I just wanted more retire in the against the current meta. There's so many good cards that are just like hand traps against me that I really wanted this. Narukami absolutely just like dubs me with that starter. So just making sure I have this is really, really nice. It's Harrier Hurricane. It does have an Excel marker, which is important. If you ride down, a lot of the times you might not have the Thavas, so just being able to have a grade 3 to target to go into is nice. Getting that Excel is nice. Vanguard or Rearguard. When placed, Cannibalist 1, choose one of your opponent's Rearguards and retire it. And then the bottom effect is Auto Vanguard. When it attacks, if it's the first battle of that turn, this unit gains 10k. I don't care about that bottom effect. I'm specifically just running it for that retire ability. It's nice. If you have another grade 3 that you prefer, go for it, really. Grade 4s, so these are the targets that you're going to be looking for with the Thavas, and it's part of the reason why the deck list is actually a bit tight, because you need to like make room for these. So if you play V Premium, you're used to Lambros, so Lambros is the normal target that we would have had. Grade 4 hand, if your Vanguard is Thavas in its card name, this card gets grade -1, so it means you can actually call it if you're on grade 3, which is super nice. When placed on Vanguard, choose any number of your Rearguards and stand them. So because you're resting 3 Rearguards for the Thavas ability, that just means that you get to stand them all again and you're not getting any negatives from trying to go into him. He also has the when attacks ability, Cannibalist Soul Blast 1, and you should be Soul Blasting Thavas here. Choose a column, stand all your Rearguards in that column, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, those Rearguards get 5k. Super nice, super clean. And the other one, whoever came up with this idea to run the Magnolia Elder in Thavas is a genius, by the way. This card is fantastic in Thavas. So it's a grade 4, and because Thavas doesn't specifically state search for Lambros just for a grade 4, and it's a Stoichia unit, you can run this. Has the when placed on Vanguard ability of choose a card from your soul and you may call it to Rearguard. With that, you're going to want to be calling out that Thavas so that you can write down. Continuous Vanguard, if you have 1 or more card in your soul on your Rearguard with Magnolia, blah, 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 you don't. So just that top ability, but it also has triple drive built in. So when you go into this, you just get quad drive. It's really important to go into this if you have like no counterblasts. So If you have no counterblast, or if you're like just trying to keep low damage early, you can go into the Magnolia Elder, completely just like rebuild your hand. You're not trying to do like tons of damage, but you are also running the 8 crits. So the amount of times I'll swing with this and get like 2 crits is absolutely nutty. Put lots of pressure on your opponent, but don't forget about the value that Lambros adds. I found myself when I first built the list and looking at this being too excited about the prospect of going into Magnolia Elder that I completely overlooked the Lambros and the value that this adds. So think about your situation, think about what's in your deck, and yeah, go for it. When you are using Thavas' ability, make sure you keep in mind that you at least have 1 target in your deck. You're going to need it to grade 4, otherwise you just rested your field for absolutely nothing. Now we can get into the fun and fast stuff, really. Tokens, we have 1 quick shield for your target for your starter. I'm running 6 Excel markers, Excel 2. Never found myself wanting Excel 1. The draw from Excel 2 is just absolutely broken. We're running 6 because we run 5 grade 3s that allows us to get 1. And we're running the stride. Of course, if you use Thavas' ability at the end of turn to go back into Thavas, keep that in mind because I'm only running the 6. Run as many as you have or you want. I like that. That's fine. Never found myself actually needing any more than going into strides. I'm a bit aware that I've I've talked a lot and we're strapped a bit for time. So we're running 2 of the Gem Bolt Dragon. This card is fantastic. It's just, yeah, beautiful. When placed on Vanguard, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, call up to 2 as rest and shuffle your deck. It's free value. Stride this, get 2 cards from rest for free. Beautiful. And then it has the when attacks ability of counterblast 1 and turn any card in your G zone face up. For every 2 rested rear guards you have, draw a card, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. If you do throw more, stand 2 rear guards. So you go into this, get 2 rested rear guards, so you're already meeting a requirement for it. Do your shenanigans with like the Pursuit Assault to rest 2 here, maybe get 2 attacks off here. Swing with the Gem Ball. Draw 3 cards for a counterblast, retire 3 of your opponent's rear guards, and stand 2. This card is like the best stride that Aquas is like needed for a very long time. It's fantastic value. I found myself with like 12 to 15 card hands on first stride 9 times out of 10, just from the value that this card and the rest of the deck adds. It's fantastic. 2 is nice because sometimes you don't want to be going into like anything else that you have, so just going in for that extra value is nice, but you need to watch out for your deck size. I found myself going into the Gem Ball twice, usually if I'm like going second and I'm playing the like come back game. We have the next stride that came out from DPSO1, which is the premium support, I believe. This card is also just fantastic and another option for your first stride. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked, counterblast 1 and turn a card from your G zone face up. You get an imaginary gift Axel, which is Chef's Kiss, and choose up to the same number of your rear guards as the number of face up cards in your G zone and stand them. Then choose up to 1 of your rear guards, move it to an additional rear guard and open 1, keep in mind, and it gets 10k until the end of turn. I found myself calling Tidal Assault in the back row here, doing my full turn shenanigans, and then using this card's effect to move the Tidal Assault up, give it 10k, and then my Tidal Assault is sitting pretty right up here, and I'm going to put any drive checks that I need to on my other things than pressure. Yeah, you can't do that. I forgot it's at the end of the battle, my bad. But what is important about this is if you're in the late game, this card says like stand your entire field, because if you have like 6 G zone face up, you can stand 6 things, and it's just such free value that it's actually just like pretty crazy. Only running 1 because you only need 1 really. It can either be an early game or a finisher, but this is 9 times out of 10 the card that I'm going to be using as a finisher here. We have Alexandros, or Reliable again. This card is another flashback. This is one that used to be used in the old days, and it's still just fantastic. Wave 2nd or 3rd time, so that's when this attacks on the 2nd or 3rd attack of your turn. At the end of the battle, let this unit attack, so at the end of the battle, counterblast 1 and choose a face down card in your G zone, any card. Choose 2 rear guards, stand them, and they get 5k until the end of the turn for each face up card in your G zone. So, little combo. You have this. I'd usually have a Tidal Assault on an Excel and a Pursuit Assault here. Swing with a Tidal Assault at a rear guard, see if I can get rid of some value here. It's like 14, most rear guards that's hitting. Do whatever you fancy doing with the Pursuit. It's probably going to be on at least like 24k, so that could be a Vanguard swing. Swing with Alexandros, at the end of the battle, stand the 2, and then give them like plus 30k. Tidal Assault can attack the Vanguard twice with that plus, and then if you use the Andre effect, the starter, on the like the Pursuit Assault, it's, yeah, restanding 2. So giving things like plus 25, 30k is ridiculous and a really great way of finishing the game. 2 of those, sometimes you really just want to like smack them hard home. Sometimes people like can survive a little bit, but because most of the time you're Thavas and you have a huge hand, you can survive it and you really just want to send the message home. Next up, I'm running a one-off of Valios Revive. People online have talked a lot about Valios Revive. I don't see myself going into it too often, but it is important if you know your opponent's still got a lot of triggers left in deck, has a lot of heals potentially, has an over trigger left. So it has the ability of when it attacks, counterblast 1 and turn a face-up card in your G-Zone face up. A face-up card in your G-Zone face up. Choose a card from your G-Zone and turn it face up. Call up to 2 cards from your hand to rear for each of those face-up cards in your G-Zone. You draw cards equal to the number of cards you called. And if your G-Zone has, this is the important part, if your G-Zone has 2 or more face-up cards, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards until the end of turn. Increase or decrease its power to 11,000. It cannot gain power from anything other than the effects of Guardians. That means your opponent can only guard. They can't use a set that says, give my Vanguard 10k. Triggers won't go off. So if your opponent's at 5 damage and you have a lot of board and you really just want to send home the message and they don't have a lot, the Valios can really just make sure that your opponent is not going to cheat you. If they get a heal, them getting 10k can really hurt you. If they get the over trigger, it's a 6 damage, you lose the game most times. So the Valios can really come in to just really like say, okay, it's time for you to go to bed now, buddy. More old reliables is Lambros. So the reason I'm stuck to the 2 Lambros, most lists online are running 2 Lambros. I tried to look at the value because I hardly found myself going into this. This is my favorite card in the entire like game. Like this is like such flashbacks for me that it's ridiculous. But it's actually really important because all of the strides that I've showed you currently say counterblast 1. And if you don't have any way to get that counterblast back, like you don't have your G-Guard face up, you're in trouble, buddy. You're in big not happy alley. But Lambros is free, so choose a card from your persona flip, so flip 1 of itself from your G-Zone. When it attacks a Vanguard, if it's the 4th battle of that turn or more, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 2 of your rear guards and stand them. Then if the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, the stud units get 10k. So it's just free. It's still really good. If you want to do like more attacks and stuff than you would with like the Alexandros. So if you don't want to have to attack with your Vanguard on the 2nd or 3rd one and you want to do all your rear guards first, the Lambros can go at any point after the 4th, which is really nice. But it really is just mainly there for that situation where you haven't had the chance to go, I want to counterblast a card. So yeah. Next up we have Megiddo. That's Megiddo. I don't really want to read it. If you have no board, if your opponent's like big sucked your entire board away, using the Megiddo to get them back and then just smack them with a ton of value is really nice. The most times with the Megiddo, I've went, okay, Megiddo, I'm gonna grab back like 4 Pursuit Assaults and just be able to like whack you in the face, and they all have like plus 15k. Yeah, good luck guarding is really nice and can come up clutch. I don't own the other shiny dragon. I would run it. You should run it. It's really good. It's like Megiddo, a kind of situation ship in the deck, but when it comes up and you have a 12 card hand and you're like, I could win the game because my opponent's on 5 and I could just ditch 8, yeah, you miss it. So run it if you have it. Don't spend £100 if you don't. And then G-Guards. I'm running 6 G-Guards? 7 G-Guards. And that's because this meta stinks with loveliness. And that like there's just so much randomness that you kind of just want to have options for everything. So we are running the G flip one. I'm just going to burst through them. It has the effect of when placed on G, GB1, so you have to have had a face up first. Counterblast 1, goddamn counterblast 1. Choose a face down G Guardian, flip it. You're going to want to always be flipping the Galfi. Yeah. Choose up to 5 of your units, give them resist and the ability of this unit cannot be hit, which is really nice. And this unit gains 5k for each chosen unit. So if you have a full board, it's just a 25k guard and gives you stuff resist, which is super nice. Next up we have Dianora. This is the new one that came out in the DPS01, so the Premium Collection, I believe, maybe. Has the ability of when placed on Guardian, counterblast 1, god damn it, and perform one of the following. So if it's the first battle of your opponent's turn, you choose one of your Vanguards and it gains 5k. And if it's the 4th battle or more, this unit gains 20k. So it can be a 20k guard, or it can just really shut down cards that have a lot of little smelly attacks. One thing that's such big time about the G-Guards for Aquaforce is it's nerfed to whatever like time it is that your opponent's actually attacking you. And that sucks that sucks, Bushy. Why have you done this? Like, don't do that. It sucks. We would like a much better, stronger G-Guard, please. People have like hand traps now. Like, there's so many decks that have ways to just like retire something randomly, or like just absolutely bonker it. Like, give me a hand trap, give me something spicy, give me a reason to want to survive with these G-Guards. We have our all reliable in the form of Ice Barrier Dragon. So because this card says 4th battle only, and sometimes you don't have a counterblast for this, it's nice to just be able to get 10k for free. So it can happen on the 1st battle or the 4th time or more, and it's important to know 4th time or more. So this specifically comes up if you don't have the counterblast, or you don't want to use the counterblast because you want to use it for your combos. It's nice. Galfiflia, nice card. This is the card that you're G-flipping with literally every single card in your G-zone that says G-flip, because it has the ability of wave, 2nd time or more. God damn you, Bushy Road. This unit gains 5k, so it's just a free 20k guard. And then act, so it's on your turn. G-zone, Soul Blast 1, and turn this card face down. Choose a card from your circle or damage zone and turn it face up, so you can unlock a card if you're playing against Link Joker, which definitely comes up, by the way. You like being able to have cards attack. But also, what it's mainly used for is just counter-charging once, because, yeah, it hurts. So many counterblasts. And we have some funky Cray Elementals here. We've got the Air Elemental Ractome, and we have Dark Elemental Dismal. So you may have seen the Dismal more than you will have with the Ractome, but because we draw so many cards, and because our deck is a combo piece, Ractome just says, choose a card choose a card from your hand and discard it. When this unit's placed on G, you may pay the cost if you do draw a card. So if your opponent's attacked you with something that's a 15k guard and you just want to filter your hand or digging for a piece, you can go to Ractome and ditch one and draw one. This has saved my life a lot when my hand's like bricky and my opponent's on like the last few attacks and I have no way to guard. I'll Ractome the one guard that's like a 15k, draw a card, and it'll draw me a piece that's going to allow me to survive the turn and then bounce back. Dismal just says, when placed on G, choose a card. It can't be hit, can't be retired, can't be removed. Stop trying to bully me. Yeah, card's good. Good old card, good reliable. Smelly reprint, reprint with the grade 1 though, but it's a nice art. Yeah, that's my deck list for Thavas. I'm sorry that it's took me 37 minutes to be able to go over it. I am a little rusty, and to be honest, I'm just really having fun with the deck. I hope this was like a more in-depth breakdown. I really wanted to approach it from trying to inform you on different ways that you can play the deck, rather than just being like, look, here's a list. Because I feel like anybody can do, look, here's a list. But it's nice when you're starting a new deck to have a stronger understanding of what you're actually trying to do. I hope you're enjoying Vanguard right now as much as I am. There's a lot of talk online of people being like, oh, the game's doing this, it's dying, it's not. For me, I think it's really healthy. Let's explore more things. If you have a preferred format that you like to play, then definitely stick around. I'm going to be posting more videos on Premium, on V Premium, and on Standard. Standard's one that I'm like very new to, but I do have a Flagberg list that's going to be going up very soon. But again, most of the things are going to be like things that you've already seen. Nothing that's going to be completely like mind-breaking, I imagine. But you might learn a new combo for your deck that you've never seen before, so stick around. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.